Thanks for tuning back in. I'm Tommy Campbell, still bald, still in my basement, and still laughing at the Biden's in cognitive decline crowd being completely fine with someone so off the deep end he thinks he looks like Elvis. No. The appeals court unanimously rejected Trump's immunity claim, and I'll be having a laugh getting into the details of the decision and the MAGA cultists, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Mike Johnson scrambling to defend the diaper-defeated former president. Plus, by popular demand, there's a hilarious new genuine page from my special copy of Lauren Boebert's book and much more, but first, this.
Help all of these things that are going on around our country, and we're not out to save the whales. We can do that later. We're out to secure our election platform. That's it. We are focused on one thing, period. Everything else is a manifestation of stolen election. We have to secure our elections, everybody. If you go down a little further, and there you go. If you click on the bottom there, does it say the plan? If you click on the plan itself, everybody.
Orcas, blues, humpbacked, grays. I know this is tough to take, but the guy that broadcasts from his car, patios, hotel rooms, and someone recently suggested a nail salon, he's not going to save you. At least not now. I know this is tough to process, but do you really want Mike Lindell in the water trying to help you with all that hair and mustache dye? It would start to run, and you'd be in an Exxon Valdez situation all over again. So for now, he's going to stick to blowing all of his money on the mysterious orange land whale. It is pouring MAGA tears. Tip your mugs outside the umbrella and get some. Thanks for taking in my take on things. Join the witty and funny subscribers in the comments while I blast the latest and stupid and more.
The Federal Appeals Court today just ruled that President Trump does not have immunity. Do you think that he deserves total immunity from anything that he's done in office?
I haven't seen that development. Was that this morning?
Yeah, they just ruled this morning.
I believe that they've been after President Trump for partisan political purposes. I think that's obvious, and we call it lawfare, and I think there's no other way to describe it.
How did you go about picking your impeachment?
What was that this morning? Oh, you haven't heard that the head of your party just had a massive blow to the Depends? So either this dinosaurs and man coexisted ultra-religious lunatic is lying, or he missed all the notifications on his phone since they were buried in with the wank alerts from his accountability partner. Still the strangest thing ever and a national security risk to have third-party software scanning your phone. But what else would you expect from the law and order party of family values? And it's not lawfare, Mike. It's just the law.
The left is afraid, and now they are trying again to rig another election by interfering in this political witch hunt.
Rig another election. These people do not take losing well. Such an example for the children. Lauren moved because she knew she didn't stand a chance in her district, and here she is trying to say others are scared.
We are here today to authoritatively express that President Trump did not commit an insurrection. And we believe Congress has a unique role in making that declaration. It's not the job of the states, and especially not the job of some bureaucrats in Colorado, to make this assessment and interfere with the rights of voters to cast their vote for the candidate of their choice. The very experts who often get on television and talk about securing democracy seem to be the first to want to then remove a candidate from the ballot because they are afraid that he is too popular. We have 63 co-sponsors to the resolution that Ms. Stefanik and I will be filing today to express the sense of Congress that President Trump did not commit an insurrection. I want to express my gratitude to Senator Vance for filing the companion legislation over in the Senate. And now is time for members of the House and Senate to show where they stand on this question. We and the former president welcome and expect many more co-sponsors in the coming days and look forward to a floor vote. And now I'd like to recognize my co-lead on this project, our terrific Republican Conference Chair, Elise Stefanik.
Okay, drunk lawyer Matt Gaetz, maybe you should be calling your AA sponsor. Not long ago, I got into Elise Stefanik, or as Trump says, Stepanek, attempting to rewrite history. She went out of her way to delete the official statement from her website, but not before myself and others could capture it. The internet is forever, morons. And now here she is with Teen Touch McForehead trying to get a resolution claiming that Trump didn't engage in insurrection. So yeah, just forget all the footage, the hang Mike Pence chants, the tweets, the posts, the rallies. Maybe while they're at it, they could introduce a resolution that there's never been any school shootings or racism.
And then the American people who pay for elections with their tax dollars actually own the elections and have the right to care about their elections, election integrity, and the results of their elections. When they came to Washington and protested, all of you called it an insurrection. And then when Joe Biden was inaugurated and this entire Capitol complex was surrounded with 30,000 National Guard troops, none of you stood there and called that an insurrection. Oh no, you all stayed silent.
So much handiwork there. I don't know if she's trying to give Lauren Boebert or Don Jr. a go. It is pretty incredible that she's suggesting an inauguration was an insurrection. It is not abnormal to have large amounts of security at an inauguration, but you may need a little bit extra after what just happened under orders from the former administration on Inauguration Day, or as Lindell called it in this bizarre Mar-a-Lago backroom interview and many other times.
And on Inauguration Day,
You know, just because it's the January 20th inauguration, the way this all plays out is on God's timing and it's God's will, whatever that is.
and on Inauguration Day,
Only the best and brightest for MAGA.
In what regard?
I think it's not going to be able to function. I think it's, look at even things like supply chains, things we never even heard about. You never heard that term. Everything worked under me.
Nothing worked under you, and nobody's heard of supply chain because it's not a big thing. Well, unless Trump's talking about the Canadian Council for Aboriginal Business, but I doubt that. Maybe Trump wouldn't suck so much at business if he knew what a supply chain is. It's kind of important. A supply chain's a network of companies and people that are involved in the production and delivery of a product or service. Okay, maybe that's too complicated. The raw materials get produced. It's transported to the facility where they're manufactured into a product and then transported to a store or distribution center so you can order your Depends between rage posts. They are then delivered to you where Eric waits at the ready with his golden turd tongs. See, I tried to make it relatable for you, Donnie, but you'll probably still struggle. Thank you. I see every tip from pennies to dollars. They are hugely appreciated and help make this show possible. If you love what I do here and you can afford to help out, throw me a buck with the PayPal link in the pinned comment or drop me a super thanks with this button. And please take 2 seconds after this video to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. These things are free and help the show grow. Thank you. The D.C. court made a unanimous ruling against Donald Trump, holding that he does not have immunity from criminal prosecution in the special counsel's January 6th related prosecution. So for those keeping score, he does not have immunity from criminal prosecution, herpes, or incontinence. I read the 57-page document, so you don't have to, but it's no slow burn. It opens with an action sequence, and to read the juicy highlights, I have the man Don Jr. called a mentally declining pro-amnesty turtle. Welcome back to the show, Mitch McConnell.
For the purpose of this criminal case, President Trump has become Citizen Trump, with all of the other defenses of any other criminal defendant. But any executive immunity that may have protected him while he served as president no longer protects him against his prosecution. No man in this country is so high that he is above the law. The president does not enjoy absolute immunity. Former President Trump lacked any lawful, discretionary authority to defy federal criminal law, and he is answerable in court for his conduct. We cannot accept that the office of the presidency places its former occupants above the law for all time thereafter. The strongest evidence against President Trump's claim of immunity is found in the words of the Constitution. Former president's reading rests on a logical fallacy, stating that if the president is convicted, he can be prosecuted, does not necessarily mean that if the president is not convicted, he cannot be prosecuted. We have balanced former President Trump's asserted interest in executive immunity against the vital public interests that favor allowing this prosecution to proceed. We conclude that a public policy, especially as illuminated by our history and the structure of our government, compel the rejection of his claim of immunity in this case. We have also considered his contention that he is entitled to categorical immunity from criminal liability from any asserted official action that he took as president, a contention that is supported by precedent, history of the text and structure of the Constitution. Finally, we are unpersuaded by his argument that this prosecution is barred by double jeopardy principles. Accordingly, the order of the district court is affirmed. Can I get a bump?
Donald Trump has until February 12th to file a writ of certiorari with the Supreme Court requesting them to hear an appeal of this decision. And now Roger Stone pivots to birtherism on his show.
Now, the meaning of natural-born citizen, it may be a little bit ambiguous if you just take this text of the Constitution itself at face value. But if you look at where that language came from Vattel, he makes very clear that, in order to be a natural-born citizen, you have to have been born to two citizen parents. So this is very much at odds with sort of the leftist revisionary history saying that, anyone who is born on U.S. soil automatically qualifies as a natural-born citizen.
Okay, Don Jr. was born in 1977, Ivanka in 81, and Eric in 84. And Ivana Trump became a naturalized U.S. citizen in 1988. So according to the math on Stone's show, all three of them are out. And you can add Barron to that list. Oh, and of course, Ted Cruz, who was born and spent the first years of his life in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. He's gone too. It's pretty amusing that these clowns are trying to find a way to eliminate Haley while cutting off the chances of a Trump political turd dynasty. For those new to the show, I'm glad you found me. Thank you. For a year and a half, I've been reading genuine pages from my special copy of Lauren Boebert's book. This really is a ton of fun. I only do this once a week, and it's been pretty wild. Let's get back to it. The truck rumbled up to Shooters, our gun-themed bar and grill, because theme restaurants always succeed. It was late. The lights were off, and the street was silent, except for the roar of the exhaust pipe that my husband had modified because he likes big sounds. He suggested we hit the back door, and I was up for that. No sense in doing it in the front. What if people saw us going in and thought, oh, they're open now, let's get some sliders? We were closed. Jason with the Y wheeled around the block to the parking lot. The snow was heavy, and the lot hadn't been plowed because you have to hire a private company to do the commercial property. Part of me wants to make this part of my politics plan, but leaving it snowy also leaves the opportunity to let it rip. First things first. We took off our seatbelts because it's more fun trying to hang on while the truck spins in circles instead of Big Brother trying to lock you into the seat with government regulations. I've seen videos of astronauts in the space station just floating around in jogging pants like they're swimming through invisible water. Well, you don't need to be an astronaut to do this. If you want to float around in a vehicle, just get some beers, a snowy parking lot, and a Ford with bald tires. Today was extra challenging though, because I had to protect Mountain Dew, my hamster that can't talk yet. His eyes say so much though. Deep in the snow were curbs, and you don't know when they're coming. It just suddenly happens, and the next thing you know, you're up in the air and wet. Not sure if it was from his Coors or yours. I was upside down and sideways, and Mountain Dew was looking at me with pure joy. His tiny tongue was hanging out, and his eyes were bulging, and I understand this could trigger alarm bells for the libs. But I know my hamster, and he likes action. Also, I've seen this look before on Ted Cruz, in his happiest of moments, that quickly turned to him crying into a bag of dill pickle chips while telling me how his wife doesn't ever let him use the remote control or pack his own lunch. Wham! Not the band, another curb. But this was next level. I did a full somersault holding my intensely new car-smelling hamster tight to my face, but being sure not to impale his delicate fur with my abnormally sharp chin. It was like a fairy tale. If you've enjoyed this genuine page from Low Rent Boozbird's book, let me know in the comments and I'll see about reading another page sometime soon. I am a union member and never will support Biden. MAGA Tears. Comedy? More like TDS. I'm sure you're in the basement because your wife has her boyfriend over. Totally. MAGA Tears. The right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Re-elect Bobo and thumbs down to this bozo. MAGA Tears.
No man in this country is so high that he is above the law. You feel me, Don Jr.?
Today was extra challenging, though, because I had to protect Mountain Dew, my hamster, that can't talk yet. The optimism. So for now, he's going to stick to blowing all of his money on the mysterious orange land whale. That quickly turns to him crying into a bag of dill pickled chips while telling me how his wife won't let him use the remote control or pack his own lunch.
By placing the president behind...
Deep in that snow were curbs, and you don't know when they're coming. It just suddenly happens, and next thing you know, you're in the air and wet, not sure if it was from his Coors or yours. So for those keeping score, he does not have immunity from criminal prosecution, herpes, or incontinence. I can't even get it out. He suggested we hit the back door, and I was up for that. No sense doing it in the front. What if people saw what was going on and thought, oh, they're open now, let's get some sliders. We were closed.
Former President Trump's actions allegedly violated generally...
Thanks for watching. Please stick around and check out another one of my videos. Say hello in the comments. Find my stand-up on Spotify, streamed by millions, and add me on Facebook and Instagram. It all helps. Be cool, be kind, take care.